I just have to remind you, don't you ever let anybody take your power from you. You have the same power that you did before November 5th. And you have the same purpose that you did. And you have the same ability to engage and inspire. So don't ever let anybody or any circumstance take your power from you.
This is my video update on this Wednesday afternoon, November the 27th, coming to you from Athens, Greece. Let's talk about some news. And the big news for the day is that we do indeed have a ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah. The ceasefire is pretty much everything I said in my video update yesterday as I was reporting on this story. It does look like Israel has removed a lot of its military from southern Lebanon, though they were bombing Beirut pretty much up until the last moments of the ceasefire kicking in. But we do have a ceasefire. All sides have agreed to the ceasefire. And the Biden White House came out with a statement, an announcement of the ceasefire, which they claim is supposed to lead to a permanent end to the conflict in Lebanon between Israel and Hezbollah. That is what the Biden White House is claiming. But 60 days is how long this is supposed to hold. 60 days. Do you guys think this is going to hold? I don't think this is going to hold. I hope it holds. I pray it holds, but I don't think it's going to hold. And I think the ceasefire is designed, it's set up so that when it does break down, it'll break down right at the time that the Biden White House exits and the Trump White House enters. That's why it's 60 days. That's why it's set up the way it is. This is about the Biden White House. To me, this is very much about the Biden White House saying that they got the ceasefire that they said they would get for the past year and a half, right? They've been talking about some sort of a deal in the Middle East. And they finally got some kind of a deal in the Middle East, but it happened less than 2 months before he exits, and it's set up so that it's going to probably break apart right as he leaves and right as Trump enters. So that's what this is about. It's to me, this is a lot about the Biden White House and the optics of the Biden White House being some sort of foreign policy whiz kids. They're the foreign policy geniuses, you see? They got the ceasefire. They got the peace in the Middle East. That's what they're going to say. And when it breaks down, if it breaks down when Trump is in office, well, they're just going to blame Trump, the Trump administration. We got peace, and when you came into office, the peace was broken. That's what they're going to tell the Trump administration. That's what they're going to say. That's what they're going to say about the Trump administration. So look, the ceasefire, at least for both sides, is going to allow them to rearm, to regroup, and and we'll see. Once again, I hope it holds, but I don't think it will. And who knows, maybe Netanyahu agreed to this because he's working under the premise that when Trump does take office, Trump will be even more hawkish than Biden when it comes to the Middle East, and especially when it comes to Iran. So maybe Netanyahu agreed to this 60-day pause, knowing that in a couple of months, Netanyahu believes that he's going to have an ally and a friend in the White House that'll help him ramp things up towards a conflict with Iran. Anyway, that's the ceasefire. Those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And since we are talking about Bidenopolis, let's talk about the Washington Post article that came out the other day, which says that the Biden White House is racing to boost Ukraine's negotiating leverage over Russia, to boost Ukraine's position in the conflict against Russia. That is what the Washington Post is reporting. Let me throw away this coffee and I'll read you the title of the WAPO's article. One sec. It's a toilet. All right, what is the title from the Washington Post? Biden races to boost Ukraine's position before Trump takes office as Kiev braces for the potential of difficult talks with Russia. Biden hopes providing landmines and allowing long-range attacks will strengthen its hand. In the article, the Washington Post claims that Biden made the decision to go ahead with the long-range missile strikes when he was presented with the news about North Korean troops in Kursk, as he was seeing the situation on the ground, that Ukraine is losing all across the front lines, and the Trump election victory. Those three factors finally got Biden to give the green light to ATACMS missile strikes into pre-2014 Russian territory. That is what the Washington Post claims in this article. The BS narrative about North Korean troops in Kursk, well, that's what did it. The imaginary. I haven't seen any photos of North Korean troops. Maybe there are. Maybe there are North Korean troops. But until I see some video or photo evidence, I'm going to say the imaginary North Korean troops. The ghosts of North Korea. The ghosts of Kursk. And not the ghosts of Kiev. The ghosts of Kursk. The North Korean ghosts of Kursk. So yeah, that's what the Washington Post is saying. And all of this is about strengthening Ukraine's position so that eventually, when the time comes and they have to negotiate a deal with Russia, they're in the best possible position. You see, Biden's looking after Ukraine, right? He's looking after the best interest of Ukraine. That's Biden for you. Such a swell guy, that Bidenopolis. The Washington Post article does admit that in DC and in the halls of Brussels in the European Union, they are starting to come to the realization that Zelensky eventually is going to have to negotiate with the Russians, and most likely Ukraine is going to have to give up territory. The Washington Post actually says that in this article. So once again, everything we're seeing in Ukraine, this escalation from the Biden White House, is all about making Biden look good, making the Biden White House look good. Blinken, Sullivan, Austin, Kirby, all those guys. And setting things up so that when Trump takes over, things are going to be difficult and bad. That's what this is all about. Just like with the ceasefire deal in the Middle East, the escalation in Ukraine with Russia is about setting things up so that when Trump comes into office, he's left with a very, very difficult path to some sort of a peace deal in Ukraine. So that the Biden White House can exit on January 20th and say, well, we gave Ukraine everything. We gave them the weapons, we gave them the long-range missile strikes, we gave them the F-16s, we gave them the money, and we put them in the best position to negotiate with Russia, to fight Russia, to defeat Russia, whatever they're going to say. And the Trump White House came in and they folded to Putin, right? That's what this is about, man. And they're escalating things to a very dangerous level, because they have to escalate to a dangerous level in order to create the conditions that are the most difficult and most chaotic for the new administration. It's all politics. It's all politics and optics, right? It's all politics for the Biden White House. It has nothing to do with the people of the Middle East, has nothing to do with the people of Ukraine. Nope. It is about making the Biden White House look good and making the incoming Trump administration look bad. Yeah. I could see Blinken going on the talk shows, MSNBC and CNN. Well, we'll see if MSNBC is still MSNBC or if it's going to be XNBC, purchased by Elon Musk. But I could see Blinken going on the talk shows and saying, you know, we got a ceasefire in the Middle East. We were able to get a ceasefire in the Middle East and stop the fighting between Israel and Hezbollah. And when the Trump White House came into the Oval Office, the peace deal fell apart. And we put Ukraine in the absolute best position. I mean, I could picture Blinken saying this. Can you guys picture Blinken saying this? I can see it. And when we left the White House, we put Ukraine in the absolute best position, in the strongest position to resist the brutal, unprovoked Russian aggression, for Ukraine to continue to fight against Russia's illegal and brutal invasion into Ukraine. And when the Trump White House, when Trump came into office, he folded to Putin and he gave it all up. I could see the narrative, man. We called Putin's bluff. We gave Ukraine all the weapons they asked for. We put them in a position for victory. And the Trump White House just squandered it all away. That's it. That is what all of this is about. Positioning all of these guys to look good after January 20th and to make the new administration look really bad. And the media is going to play along with all of this. Absolutely. They've already been given the scripts. That's my guess. And of course, with Ukraine, there's a whole nother layer to Ukraine, which is making sure that all the money gets to the military-industrial complex as well before January 20th. You got to get all the cash to the MIC, 10% for the big guy. You got to get all of that distributed before the new administration takes over. All right? You got to do that. That is why the Biden White House, the reports are, according to Politico, and Politico claims that they have the documents, they've been given the documents, that the Biden White House is trying to get Congress to give another $24 billion to the Zelensky regime. Politico says Biden seeks $24 billion more for Ukraine aid and weapons replenishment. And the key words are weapons replenishment. Because when you read the Politico article, and they go through the documents that they've been given from anonymous officials, those anonymous officials, the documents say that the 24 billion, 16, I believe it's 16 billion, is going to replenish weapons inventories, all the weapons that have been depleted and destroyed by the Russian military. That money's going to go to replenish all of those inventories, and the remaining money is going to go to new contracts to the MIC. Just get that money to the MIC, man. All one big grift. One big freaking grift. Yeah, they're getting whatever money they can into Project Ukraine and out of Project Ukraine, or in this case, just directly to the military-industrial complex, saying that this is for Ukraine, but whatever, right? Once the contracts are signed, who cares what the reason is for selling the weapons or manufacturing the weapons, whatever. It doesn't matter. Call it Ukraine, call it Israel, it doesn't matter. It's the MIC companies that are going to be making the profits. Yeah, 24 billion. Politico does say that this 24 billion has a slim chance of actually getting approved by Congress, but who knows? Who knows? Congress just might approve it. They just might approve it. Boy, will the American people be furious if Congress approves another 24 billion to Zelensky. Well, it goes to the MIC, it goes to the military, but they're going to say it's for Ukraine, it's for weapons for Ukraine, even though it's going to stay in the pockets of the MIC companies. Still, American people are going to be furious whether the money goes to Ukraine or whether the money goes to the weapons companies. It still looks terrible. But what does the Biden White House care? 10% for the big guy, whatever. It's 24 billion. Let's get that through. Yeah, they got to get their board seats on Lockheed Martin and Raytheon, right? They got to secure those board seats. So Blinken also announced yesterday that they're very close to approving the $50 billion loan to Ukraine. And it's all going to be secured by the Russian frozen assets. That's how this $50 billion is going to be paid back from the interest, the profits of the Russian frozen assets. Those Russian frozen assets, they pay for everything. You want a loan? Just say that it's going to be backed up by the Russian frozen assets at Euroclear in Brussels. Yeah, so that's close to being wrapped up as well. 50 billion. It's going to absolutely be paid back, right? Absolutely, it's going to be paid back. Right. Ukraine's good for it. Interest from the Russian frozen assets. Yeah, that'll pay back a 50 billion loan. No problem. No problem at all. Let's go straight. So that was announced by Blinkety Blinken yesterday. And what else? What else do we have going on here? Estonia. The defense minister of Estonia is warning France and Britain not to send troops to Ukraine. What? What? Really? Ah. The Estonian defense minister is saying boots on the ground in Ukraine is not a good idea. It's very risky, he says. Very risky. He says a better idea is to give more weapons to Ukraine and just let them fight. Says that's much better than putting boots on the ground. That's what the Estonian defense minister said. From Russia's side of things, they're actually showing the ATACMS, which I think is interesting. I'm trying to understand what they're doing. What is Russia aiming for here? Because the Russian Ministry of Defense, they've been reporting on the ATACMS strikes into pre-2014 Russian territory. So they've been reporting on this. They're actually the first to, at least in the first strike, the first ATACMS strike, the Russian Ministry of Defense, they were the first ones to report on the ATACMS hitting pre-2014 Russia. And on the second ATACMS strike, the Russian Ministry of Defense, with Russian media, they're actually showing photos of the ATACMS. And they say U.S. ATACMS hitting Russian territory. Even Politico picked this up. Kremlin admits Ukraine hit targets in Russia with U.S.-made ATACMS. And then RIA Novosti, they posted pictures of the ATACMS. The Russian Ministry of Defense showed fragments of American-made ATACMS missiles, which the armed forces of Ukraine attacked the Kursk region on November 23rd and 25th. So I'm thinking that Russia is showing all of these photos for two reasons. They're running with the stories of U.S. ATACMS. They're coming out and they're saying U.S. ATACMS hit Russian territory. Here's what they hit. Here are the photos of the ATACMS. You see, they're U.S. made. Here they are. I think there's two reasons why they're coming out with all of this information. They're so revealing. They're so transparent. The first reason is so that the allies, the international partners, can see this. BRICS, China, India, the global majority, so that they can see that the U.S. is attacking Russia. I think that's the first reason. And the second reason is for domestic consumption, right? For Russian citizens to get a look at these photos, to get a look at the missiles, so that they can prepare everyone for Russia's retaliation. That's why they're showing all of this. And Lavrov, he said in a statement that Russia is going to retaliate. That is what Lavrov said the other day. He actually said that Russia is going to punish. Those are the words he used: punish those who were behind the ATACMS attack. Not punish those that launched the ATACMS attack. In other words, not so much punishing Ukraine, but he said punish those who were behind the attacks. That was a statement from Lavrov. Actually, let me read it to you. Can I cross here? Or I need to go to the other side. Let me read you what Lavrov said. He said, missile strikes deep inside Russian territory are an escalatory step. This is what he told Rossiyskaya Gazeta. And he said, all of our warnings that these unacceptable actions will be met with an appropriate response have been ignored. And then he said, those behind attacks on Russian citizens and infrastructure will face a well-deserved punishment. He added that no escalation coming from the enemy will force us to abandon our goals in Ukraine. Those behind attacks on Russian citizens and infrastructure will face a well-deserved punishment. Those are the statements from the Russian foreign minister. Should we do a clown world and wrap up this video? How are we doing on time? We're doing all right on time. Trying to see if I have any more stories to discuss. Trump appointed a new director of health, right? The NIH. Is that the National? I think it's the National Institute for Health. Is the NIH? And we have a new director. And this is a very good pick. A very good pick. Jay Bhattacharya. I know I'm pronouncing that wrong, but this is a great pick. Jay Bhattacharya, right? Anyway, I'm trying to think. Am I pronouncing his name correctly? I don't think I'm pronouncing his name correctly. But he picked the wrong person for, I believe, Surgeon General or whatever that was. That was a bad pick. But the pick for NIH is a very good pick. So an interesting decision from Trump. He's got one person who's on what I would say is the not so good side of health, and then he picked another person to head up the NIH, which is on the right side of health. And then of course you have RFK. I guess RFK is on top of everything, right? I don't know. But that was an interesting pick. And the EU has re-elected. They like to say re-elected, reappointed, recoronated the Commission, which means basically that it's official. Ursula is the commissioner, and Kaja Kallas is the foreign minister, and all the other kleptocrats are also in place. They've all been approved, and now the Commission can start work. And the first order of business, according to Ursula, is to remove Russian LNG from Europe. That's the first order of business. Destroy Europe some more by removing Russian LNG. So Russia, Gazprom, all they're going to do is they're going to redirect their LNG to China. And the US is also making sure that Russian LNG is not sold to Europe by cutting off the SWIFT of Gazprom Bank. So they're making sure that no one in Europe, especially Hungary, can pay for Russian gas. And so Russia's just going to continue to divert everything to China, right? It's all going to go to China and to Asia. And Europe is going to end up paying a lot more to the only game in town, which is going to be the US. Or even better, China's going to just pull an India and they're just going to resell the LNG at a markup. So, I mean, either way, Europe is screwed, man. Jeez. Ursula's working for the US, right? She's got to be working for the US. I mean, you cannot be this dumb. Every move she makes is to the benefit of the globalists and specifically the US globalists. Every single move she makes. It's definitely not to the benefit of EU citizens, that's for sure. Anyway, that's what happened yesterday as well. And a clown world, and we'll wrap this video up. So the elections in Romania, man, they really broke the brains of the political elite in Europe, huh? Those first round elections. Călin Georgescu could be president of Romania. Wow. The EU is freaking out. They're freaking out so much that the European Parliament, they want to summon the TikTok CEO because they are saying that TikTok helped Georgescu win the first round of elections in Romania. And they're saying that TikTok is very dangerous now because it can help spread disinformation. That's right. From Politico, TikTok CEO summoned to European Parliament over role in shock Romania election. The role of Chinese-owned TikTok is under scrutiny following the shock victory of a far-right candidate in Romania's election. A top EU lawmaker is demanding that TikTok's chief executive appear before the European Parliament to answer questions about the platform's role in Sunday's Romanian presidential election, as researchers warn of covert activity on thousands of fake accounts leading up to the vote. That's right. That is right. TikTok, Chinese-owned TikTok. Oh boy, that sounds scary. Chinese-owned TikTok helped far-right candidate win first round of Romanian elections. That is scary. Ooh, scary, scary, scary. Man, I hope the EU can get to the bottom of this. The EU Parliament. It's time to summon the TikTok CEO and figure out what's going on. How dare he use social media to get his message out to the people? How dare he? From what I understand, Georgescu was not allowed in debates, was not being interviewed by the TV channels, was shut out of all of the mainstream media in Romania. They pretty much shut him out. And so the guy, being very, very smart, I mean, I've looked at his qualifications. I've listened to him speak. The guy's freaking smart. Whatever you may think of his policies or his position, there's no doubt about it that this guy's very intelligent. So what did he do? Well, he said, okay, you don't want to platform me on mainstream media networks, on traditional media. No problem. I'm just going to go to social media and use the internet. And that's what he did. And it worked for him. But now the EU is upset. Facebook, Instagram, Zuckbot, helping them prop up their candidates. Good. That's good. Someone they don't like, using social media fairly in order to get his message out to the people. That's bad. That's bad. Anyway, that's the video, everybody. The Duran.locals.com. What is this? This is spooky. Guys, go to the Duran shop, pick up some merch, like the jacket I'm wearing today, or the long sleeve t-shirt. Like this channel, subscribe to this channel. Let's get to 245,325 subscribers on YouTube. And I'm gonna check out what's going on in here, and hopefully I'll be back tomorrow. But maybe I won't be back tomorrow. I don't know. Take care.
Look, this mission that we have, it takes hard work. But as you've heard me say many times, we like hard work. Hard work is good work. Hard work can be joyful work. And in doing our work, we will remain committed and intentional about building community, building coalitions, reminding people that we all have so much more in common than what separates us. We will be armed with the faith and the fuel that tells us what is possible and then drives us to achieve it.